Today I want to talk about a topic that I got hundreds of questions about already during the past few years, and there's no straightforward answer to it really. A lot of people are asking me which is the best Aero helmet, etc., etc. But if you follow a bit of my activities, then you know that there is no one best Aero helmet. It's really individual. Or what performs well with some people doesn't perform well with others. But since we've been doing testing for a few years now, there are some general trends. So if you're not in a position to get aero testing, you can't get a real straightforward answer to that as a result of this aero testing, then maybe these general trends that we have seen from our data and our people could guide you in a direction. So that's why I decided to put this little compilation together. Of course, there is a huge number of different time trial or triathlon, aero, whatever you want to call it, helmets out there, particularly these days. So I've just selected a few of what we have available and what are the best performers. And I'll put in some other mentions as well, because I'm pretty sure that you will ask about them too, but we don't generally use those for testing. So let's start, I would say, at the beginning of my own personal aero journey. So when I got into time trialing, the Giro Aerohead, the first generation, was the hot new thing. And that's why I bought it before I've done my own aero testing, which had different results. But still, this is quite a good performing helmet. It wasn't really amazing on anyone that we have tested it on, and it has one big flaw in form of this peak at the forehead, which kind of limits the visibility when you're in a head down position. So that's one of the reasons why I don't really like it. But compared to others, it's quite a decently performing helmet, and you can't really go very wrong with it unless your position is very upright. So yeah, not great, not terrible. Decent start. You can get probably most of these secondhand quite cheap. So yeah, if you're just looking for a aero helmet, this one is a decent one. As I said, it didn't perform very poorly with anyone, and it did perform very well with anyone. So if you can't do aero testing, maybe that's something to go off. And the next one is the S-Works TT, the old generation. This is quite the opposite of Giro. So on most people that we have tested, it tested quite poorly. But there were 2 or 3 outliers where this was the fastest helmet of the bunch by some margin. I wasn't really able to pinpoint why that is. And also it's worth noting that it's faster without the visor in most cases, or in, well, almost all of the cases that we have tested, because it was designed to be used without it. This is just a triathlete kind of add-on. But it's generally quite well ventilated helmet, quite old school as well, not of these new wider ones. But still, there are some riders where this performed really well despite its age and kind of the conservative shape. So again, if you have one of these available, there is a slim chance that it might be very fast, but again, it didn't perform terribly, which is, I think, quite an important consideration if you're not able to verify your results. The ventilation and the visibility is not great, that has to be said. So that was the S-Works TT. Then a lot of people are nagging me about this one, so let's get this over with. This is the S-Works TT5, which was quite polarizing at the release. and many people are super excited by it, and yeah, it's really difficult to get your hands on one. But I have to say, it's not magic. None of these helmets is magic, and certainly not this one. So yeah, I know that Alex Dowsett tested it and it was the fastest for him, but nobody is Alex Dowsett except Alex Dowsett. So yeah, I know a lot of you watch his videos and everything, but it doesn't mean that his results apply to you. What we have found is that on a lot of riders, it's always basically on, I think, all of the riders we have tested it on, it's in the top 2 or 3, but it was rarely the fastest. I think that was only the case in 1 or 2 people. So yeah, it's up there. It's a good performing helmet, not great ventilation, but pretty good visibility, so that has to be said. And yeah, now that the sock thing is out of it, because it has to be, because of the UCI, that also takes away a bit of its performance. But if you're really lusting after this helmet and try to get it at all costs, don't. It's like, it's not magic. There are other well-performing helmets that are more readily available, and with a good chance that they will be better. So I'm not saying it's a bad helmet, but I'm just really annoyed by the hype around it, because, you know, it's one of the best performing helmets, that's true, but even somebody on my video on Instagram commented that I should be riding this one because it's faster, but how do you know? You haven't tested it even yourself, not to mention me, so yeah, that's a pointless comment. Anyway, if you can get it, it's a good helmet. It performs very highly on a wide variety of riders, but chances are that it's not going to be the absolute best. And particularly so if you're not holding it in the position that it was intended to. Yeah, obviously this was developed for Remco, so very aggressive, very head down position, and it's just not for everyone. But the surprising thing is that even if you take it outside of that, it's still decent. So yeah, that's my opinion on this one. Then we have the last 3 are basically some of my favorite helmets that are available on the market right now. So let's start with this one, and that, perhaps unsurprisingly, is the Met Drone. Now, this helmet is an extremely high performing helmet with anybody I've ever tested. So on some occasions it wasn't the absolute fastest, but I have to say it was almost always in the top 2, rarely outside of that. So very good helmet. I've been using it a lot myself. I won my Nationals TT on this and got a 3rd place with this also. So it performed with me very well. There's also 2 sizes available, so you've got the medium, this is a large, and unlike with most helmets, the outer shell also differs in size, so that's worth, if you really want to get into the details, and we have both sizes so we can test them. But yeah, this is one of the best helmets I think available on the market right now. It has decent ventilation, good visibility. The visors are a bit tricky to get to. This one has a tinted one, so that's a plus. Normally it comes with a clear one. Yeah, pretty decent build quality. So yeah, very good helmet overall. Certainly, if I were to put out my recommendations, then this is one that is the absolute go-to. So yeah, I really like this one. Yeah, one thing that's worth mentioning though is that if you're a rider who can't keep his head level, this helmet is really not for you, because as you can see it has a long tail. It's kind of an old school shape except the width, but if you tilt it up in the wind, then obviously it's not going to work very well. So again, it's not for beginner riders because of this reason, but if you're a bit more advanced or elite level, something like that, then yeah, really great helmet, it has to be said. Then on par with the Met is, I think, quite a lot of people's favorite, or quite a big staple. Really an excellent helmet design. That is the Casque Mistral. And the same thing applies with the sizing. So we got the medium and the large. They're quite different also in the external size. So there is experimenting to be done with that. As I said with the Met, that it was one of the two fastest helmets. Usually with most people, it's between these two, with the Casque and the Met. Or sorry, well, the other way around, but you get the idea. This is also a helmet designed for very aggressive head positions, low front end, but it doesn't have as big of a tail, so the penalty for moving your head is not as great. I think that's also part of the reason why it performs so well. And I've also been using this helmet personally a lot. So in 2020 this came out fastest in my Aero testing, 2019 also, and 2023 with the Factor, and yeah, this year we haven't finalized that yet. So yeah, certainly one of the top performance, certainly a good recommendation. Visibility is good, ventilation is decent, and it's also quite a light and compact helmet, so it's not tiring for the neck, perhaps worth noting if you're in a longer event. However, I find that the build quality, yeah, as you can see, it's quite a flimsy thing. This outer shell is just, you know, it's not very sturdy at all, but it comes with this quite nice carrier bag. So yeah, the build quality on the Met is certainly better. So it is what it is. But if you just have to blindly pick a helmet, then I think it's one of these two. And finally, my latest favorite, as you may have seen. So this is obviously quite a controversial helmet with seat protection Redeemer. And I know what you're going to say again, that it didn't test particularly well for that one person, so it means that it's bad. But I have to say, based on our experiences this year, because well, it's a relatively fresh helmet, so that's why I'm not ranking it yet with these two, but literally every single person that we have tested so far this year had this helmet as their fastest or second fastest. So that's a rare occasion, and I think that's a testament of the design. It's yeah, it might remind you of the POC Tempor, and I'm sure plenty of people will ask about that one, but I did try and use a POC Tempor for myself and for my clients, but actually I never really found anyone who it would have been fast on. So yeah, unlike this one, because this, again, despite its funky shape and kind of it looks very specific or rider specific, it actually, yeah, as I said, the results were quite surprising, to be honest. So that's obviously what you want of an Aero helmet, and it also works well on me, and it worked well with, if you've seen the videos with Janos and other Aero tests that we've done, a lot of people went away and walked away with this exact helmet because of this reason. That's also why we started stocking it after testing it. So if you're interested in one of these, they're not so common yet, it's not very easy to get your hands on, but if you want to, then you can check out the link below. We have a small stock of these available. So yeah, performance is there definitely, and the other thing I like about this helmet in particular is the build quality and other features. So you get this nice padded back for it. The build quality is very high, so it's a really well made product. There's tons of adjustability. You can see the pads here that come extra, so you can really fine-tune your fit and make sure that it doesn't move around on your head, which is extremely important. And the retention system is nice. It has this magnetic clip, it has MIPS, it has this Venturi style exhaust port, so it's quite cool on your head. And the visibility, at least for me, is great, but other riders also report that it's quite nice. So yeah, because of these reasons, I think this would be my, for myself, it definitely is a top choice, a top pick. And as I said, many of the riders that we have tested this year have walked away with this one. So yeah, thoroughly recommended. Obviously, we need to see a bit more tests because yeah, these have been proven over the years. This is relatively fresh. So maybe it's the selection of riders that were lucky with it, but you know, 4 or 5 tests, that's not really in the luck spectrum of things anyway. And also I think it just looks cool, to be honest. You also get 2 visors, and the replacement visors are easy to get hold of, so that's another benefit compared to the other helmets that we have here. The downside maybe is that it's really quite expensive and a bit heavy too, but yeah, Aero always drums weight, so that's just more of a comfort thing. Maybe not what you want for a full Ironman, but yeah, if it's fast, then why not? So yeah, a bit more testing to be done on this one, including for myself, because as I said, I haven't finalized this year's setup just yet. And well, the thing is that actually for me this year's setup will be next year's setup, more or less. So yeah, these are the results. And yeah, I've already mentioned the POC temper because I'm pretty sure that people will be asking about it. So for me, that's just a no. Not very comfortable and didn't work for anyone that I've tested it on. And maybe another notable mention is the AJC AdWatt that we also sell, but we haven't done a huge number of tests on it because we had it in stock and it always just went for someone. And the same thing actually goes for the Laser Volante. And yeah, I don't have much information on that. I'm also pretty sure they will ask about the new Giro Arrowhead, but obviously I have that on order. I really like the design of that helmet aerodynamically, but we'll have to wait and see because it will not be publicly available for sale until next year. So yeah, maybe it's something that I will explore in the well, quite near future, I have to say. So yeah, these are my experiences and my top picks of helmets that I can recommend. If you have any other questions, then let me know below. And if you don't want to leave the helmet choice or any other choice, equipment-wise or position-wise, to chance, then of course you can go to the link below to my website and book an Aero test with us to make sure that everything is optimized, tested, and exactly as it should be. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.